like that. Let's move on to the Cavaliers, one of the most difficult ones of both the Eastern and Western Conference. I'm going to give them an 8.
8, okay.
Because of LeBron and because of Kevin Love. Those are the guys I'm giving this 8 for. I do think there's a lot of things to be nervous about if you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan. The coaching situation, first of all, very worrisome. Not because of Ty Lue's health necessarily, but just in general, he's not the greatest coach, right? But then this team still gives up an incredible amount of points night in and night out. And if you look at that 76ers game, which was a great game, one of the better games of the season in my opinion, the defense was really suspect in that game. And they lost to the 76ers, gave up 132 points without Embiid playing. That's bad. So imagine if that team did have Embiid, they might have scored 150, honestly, if they were playing at that rate, right? It's not realistic. The game would have been different if he was playing. But my point is this. They are playing with a point guard who can't shoot in Ben Simmons, and you're still giving up 132 points is pretty poor, right? I still have a lot of faith in this team. I think they're going to be in the finals, but I'm just pointing out they do have a lot of inefficiencies, inadequacies as a squad that they shouldn't. I don't think they're going to blow through the East like they did last year. Let's put it that way. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking a strong 10.
I
think this is a 10 out of 10. LeBron James is going to carry this team probably out throughout the whole and get to the finals and probably lose. But this LeBron James and just this team right now is playing very solid basketball. They did come back against the Washington Wizards. They came back and we saw the agonizing face of Scott Brooks as LeBron James and that Cavs team was making the comeback.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could have also done that against the 76ers if a couple of the role players hit those threes that were very crucial at the end. But it also comes down to their defense. I understand that. But I think once comes playoff time, this team will be locked in, solid, ready to go. They obviously won't blow by everybody like they did last year, but I think it will definitely be a very convincing fashion until they get to the conference final where potentially they could be facing the 76ers.
All right.
And that's why it's a strong 10, because I think LeBron James has almost all of these teams' numbers, including the number 1 seed, the baby dinosaurs, as Undisputed would like to call them.
Certainly that. One weird side note. Back to the Wizards for 1 second. I have one more gripe against that team. Scott Brooks is one of the worst coaches in the NBA. He's awful. Sorry, Wizards fan. He's terrible. Terrible coach. Back to the Cavaliers, though. The reason I give them an 8, right, not only for the defense and the coaching, but I do think there's a lot of teams in here that just based on the way they play could actually make a series tough on the Cavs. Like, even, honestly, the Pacers. I'm not going to write them out I'm not going to say they're going to win. I don't think they're going to win by any means. But I think they could go to like a game 6 and be like really tough just based on the way they play defense if they were to hold a lot of the like more inconsistent Cavs to bad shooting nights and then play good enough offense to actually score 110 or 115 against the Cavs. There's a chance they pick up like 2 wins in that series. Which, if you're going to drop 2 games against the Pacers, right, it doesn't really bode well if you're going to play a team like the Raptors, right? But I have my doubts with this team, but I do think they're going to be in the finals. Let's go to the 76ers. What are you thinking about this team? 14-game win streak, longest in franchise history for them right now. Yeah,
this team is probably going to be at a 7 for me, 7 or 8. And the reason why is because, like you said, they beat the Cavaliers at their place. When was it? 132-130, I believe. Yep. And because of that, I think the 76ers are going to be an all-time high. Markelle Fultz has come back. He's been looking pretty good right now. And Joel Embiid, he'll come back from the fracture, hopefully in the first round, but it's probably more likely second round, I think.
Yeah.
Just on the safe side. That's the only reason why I think it's going to be a 7 or an 8 for me, is because I don't know the injury proneness of Joel Embiid. Like, I don't know if that could come into effect in one of these games, and if they lose him, I think they lose, like you said, a big chunk of their offense, because Ben Simmons can't shoot.
Not at all.
So when you don't have someone who could shoot, and you have to rely on guys like J.J. Redick and Robert Covington to kind of do the scoring load.
Bellinelli's been dope, too.
Bellinelli's been good, but I think relying on, even though I do like J.J. Redick, I think just relying on those guys to do like a majority of your 3-point scoring is asking a tall task of them.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why I'm giving them a 7. But if Joel Embiid is able to stay healthy during this time,
Okay.
could change the score.
All right, so I'm going to give them a 5.
5, okay.
I announced this on the channel that this was my bandwagon team of the year. All right?
Man, he's jumping off, guys.
I'm not jumping off. I still am rooting for this team. I actually legitimately think they have a chance to make the finals with the team they have. But I'm gonna temper my expectations with a 5 for a couple reasons. First of all, Embiid is injured. He's gonna come back with a face mask. Historically, players play not good when they have the mask in comparison to their normal play.
But the superstars do. LeBron James has played well. Kyrie played
all right, and then he had to take the mask off because he couldn't play with it anymore. Right? I'm just saying there's a chance Joel Embiid is not up to his level of play with the mask on. Right? It's just throwing it out there. Right? Secondly, teams play better defense in the playoffs.
Right.
Cavaliers included are going to play better defense. It's just a fact. So when you have a lot of inadequacies as a shooting team with your main ball handlers, which is Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons, you're going to see those inadequacies really come to the surface, I think, more often than not in the playoffs. Like if this team had to play like the Utah Jazz in the first round, which obviously is not happening, but if it did, I would have little faith in this team to win. And that's not saying that the Utah Jazz are the greatest team, but it's just that defensive scheme would really make the 76ers work. But they're also really young. They haven't played like they're young, but they are young. So there's just a couple reasons that I think I want to temper my expectations. Injuries, the youthfulness of the team, and then poor shooting. Barring 3 or 4 of the guys on their team who are really good at shooting. But like you said, I think making Marco Bellinelli, JJ Redick, and Robert Covington your main 3-point options in a really meaningful playoff series is really scary.
Yeah.
Those guys are... I like all 3 of them a lot as players. Marco Bellinelli has been awesome to watch lately. But come Game 7 against the Cavaliers in the Eastern Conference Finals, do I trust those 3 guys to win you a game? I just don't. So, low expectations, but I think they have the highest upside, not counting the Cavaliers, they have the highest upside in this playoffs to really do something special. Moving on, Celtics number 2. This one, interesting for a couple reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously the injuries. I'm going to still give them a 7.
7, okay.
They got the main man. They got Brad Stevens.
That's the main guy.
He's the superstar.
Put him out on the court.
He's the superstar. Look at what he's done with that Island of Misfit Toys roster that he has. I think they can win a series, at least their first series, especially if they play the Bucks. I think they can beat the Bucks. And if they were to come up, I don't know who they would play in round 2. I'm not even going to speculate because my brain is not smart. But I think they can beat these bad teams or just not as well coached teams. There's only 2 teams in here that I'd be legitimately worried about. And that's the Cavaliers for a lot of reasons. And then the Heat, just because of coaching.
Yeah, this Boston Celtics team is going to be a very interesting one. Obviously, we've lost a lot of players to injuries. We're probably not going to get Marcus Smart back. We're not going to get Kyrie back. Gordon Hayward's gone. Mm-hmm. Brad Stevens is like the only coach, other than I think Greg Popovich, where we give a lot of notoriety to. Mm-hmm. And that's just due to the excellent plays and the out of timeout stuff and situations that he's able to handle properly. And I think that's the reason why this Boston Celtics team is going to have a confidence of an 8.
Okay.
And I think they're going to win one round of the playoffs, and obviously they're going to lose the second round. Or Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are still very young players. They're still growing and developing. And they had to grow up quickly more than others because of the whole situation that happened with Gordon Hayward and all these injuries that happened to our players. I mean, we were playing guys that I feel like could be ready in a year or two, like guys like Yabusele.
Yeah.
Who's been compared to as the French Draymond. So there is situations where I think this Celtics team has the pieces to get to the finals, or the conference finals, I should say. But at the same time, the offense goes, like I've always said, as Kyrie goes. And if you don't have a 24-point per game scorer, or even close to 20 points per game, then you're probably going to lose a couple games. So I don't know. The Celtics team will be tested a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be just due to sheer luck that we win in the first round. And then the second round will get bounced. And hopefully this will be like the time where we gather the spirits up, like in the Spirit Bomb, and then on the 2019 NBA championship, we just throw that thing and win.
Raise up your hands. I do think a big thing I knock them for, obviously, is not having Kyrie. But even more so than Kyrie, without him, they have no closer, really. Yeah. And I know Jaylen Brown hit that game-winning 3 like a week or so ago. But when it comes down to the clutch, the Celtics really don't have
There's no go-to scorer.
There's no guy that they have. And I always like the fact of that, especially in the playoffs, because every game comes down to the wire. A lot of these teams really don't have that. And that's why, the Cavaliers, they have the guy. You have LeBron. And the Celtics had the guy with Kyrie, but now he's gone. So are they going to be able to have somebody be able to take a 3 to win a Game 7? I don't think so. Number 1, the Raptors.
Baby dinosaurs, as Skip and Shannon like to call them.
I'm going to give them an 8.
8?
With a big asterisk, because I feel like I'm being nice.
Asterisks, man. They're all over the place.
I feel like I'm being nice. I want to give them a 5. I want to give them 5 in my heart of hearts, but I'm going to give them an 8 because I think they've earned their 8, right? But as of late, the defense has been pretty shaky, right? The Cavaliers, LeBron especially, gave them the notice. He's like, I still run the East. You guys, just because you're getting the 1 seed, don't get confident, right? Yeah. Which makes me even more want to put it towards 5 because they really won those 2 games, and it was only by 6 points the second time. But still, it was still a convincing 6-point win to me, right? So I'm going to give them an 8 because they are the 1 seed. They've been very consistent. They have a good bench. When they want to play good defense, they play very good defense. And they probably have the guy who's going to win Coach of the Year in Dwayne Casey.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give them credit where credit has been earned, an 8, but big asterisks.
For me, the Toronto Raptors, or as they like to call them, the baby dinosaurs.
It's so controversial, the hot take incoming.
They're a 4. Their confidence is a 4. And the reason why it's a 4 is because they will probably be facing, I believe, after doing a quick math and a little transition break here, I did find out that they will be playing, if the Toronto Raptors are to move on, which they most likely will, they will be playing the Cavaliers.
In round 2.
And just like the T-Rex in Jurassic Park chasing behind them, the object in the mirror is closer than it appears, and that is the Cavaliers. I think they're obviously, their mindset is, oh shoot, LeBron is here. He's in the rear view. Even though we're focused on, beating the Wizards, who are the 8th seed right now, we got LeBron James, the T-Rex, chasing us down.
Literally.
So that's the reason why I think their confidence out of 4. Obviously, I think they can contend with these other teams.
Any other team.
But the Cavs, they have it's one of those, almost like what happened with Michael Jordan and the Pistons. The Pistons always had Michael Jordan's number. Or for a while, LeBron James with the Celtics. The Celtics always had his number.
Yeah.
This is what I feel like LeBron James is doing to the Raptors.
He owns Toronto. The other thing about Toronto, and I'm gonna piss some big Toronto fans off, I don't think they have a closer. No offense to DeRozan, but just clutch playoff time games. Do you really have faith in DeRozan or Kyle Lowry to win you a Game 7? I don't.
I think I have more faith in DeRozan, but the reason why, the late game situations with these teams, I think DeRozan had a chance to win it, but they did too much ISO stuff, which I never like as my last minute thing.
I don't like that either. I like a good drawn up play.
And I'm still going to give Coach of the Year to Dwayne Casey because I think he's done a tremendous job with this Raptors team.
Brad Stevens for me.
But, with Brad Stevens drawing up these plays that you see during the timeouts, those are the type of things I want to see DeMar DeRozan come off of and score a game-winning shot.
Yeah, but they don't do that. Which makes me not have any confidence in them as game winners.
You gave him an 8.
I gave him an 8 because they earned an 8.
To be fair, with an asterisk.
With an asterisk, all right? It's really a tempered 5. I'm being nice, but they've earned their 8. They have a lot of inadequacies as a team in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Jonas Valanciunas is a liability on defense. Yeah. He is a liability. He's like Nikola Jokic liability levels of defense, right? It's very bad. But he does important things where you need him on the court offensively. Right. His pick and roll game is incredible. But that come playoff time, LeBron is going to eat you alive. If you're only relying on your pick and roll and terrible defense, LeBron James is going to eat the Raptors alive. He's going to score 45 and have 15 assists in one game of that series. I'm just telling you it's going to happen because their defense is good, but they do things defensively that don't work in the playoffs. And having a deep bench, as much as I complimented it, doesn't matter that much in the playoffs. You know, this is when you play your superstars 42 minutes. You know, they play the whole game, basically, right? I want to give them an 8, but I don't want to.